So I'm here with Keith Carmona from Scattered Comics. He's one of the awesome creators that I work with, and he is the author on half of this latest issue of Damage. I was super grateful to work with a really creative story. He managed to make the entire club face a bunch of interdimensional spiders. I'll let him kind of explain that, but so Keith, you definitely were able to write that book, but what was the purpose of writing it? What were you going for?
Okay, so some time ago, I was talking to one of our other creators, Noel Serrato, and we were talking about some of the possible story ideas that have come up that we talked about with Scattered Comics and stuff, and I had noticed that Scattered Comics had a lot of different, some great books out there, great storylines, and I asked him, hey, we thought about maybe putting these together, right? And he says we've been thinking about that for years, and we've tried, and nothing ever really came up and stuff. So that's what inspired me to work on kind of a crossover with the different characters coming together for like a single nefarious enemy, a single kind of entity they need to defeat. So,
well, that's awesome, dude. Tell me about it a little bit more, man. What is this big bad that they're having to deal with?
So there's this evil guy wants to try to sort of defeat all of the heroes he's been watching, Damage Inc., of course, being one of them. And what he really wants to do is sort of take away all their powers because he thinks that they're not using it properly, and that he could use it much better. That so he basically wants to sort of conquer the scattered universe, if you will. And so he kind of goes through and visits each one of the storylines and takes on a different form. And the form that he takes on for the Damage Inc. one is a giant spider. And knowing that the group can't turn down a really good fight like this, like a giant spider, maybe not Sarah, but the rest of the crew can't help themselves, so they're going to go check out this spider that they've been hearing about and that kind of thing. So they end up in a jungle in Mexico to try to defeat this spider.
That's awesome. There's always one character that at least has its way to think itself through while everybody else is trying to smash things with a big hammer. All right, so you've been writing for a long time. This isn't your first go. What is it that you focus on now? You've got your comic book called Dr. Dream.
Yeah.
And what's that one about, and how long have you been working on it?
So Dr. Dream features a character who has the ability to go in and help people with their dreams, right? If something is bothering them or chasing them or something like that, he can go in there into their dreams and help them solve that problem, solve that issue, so they can get a good night's sleep. And I came up with the idea thinking, well, if we break a bone, right, we go see a doctor. If we've got a chipped tooth, we go see a dentist. If we got something wrong with our skin, we go see a dermatologist. Well, what happens if your dreams are all messed up? And so that's where I came up with the idea of Dr. Dream. In fact, Dr. Dream will also be in the crossover coming up as well. And we are on issue 5, and that'll be coming up later on this year, actually. And it's been a really, really fun experience and a really, really fun ride. And it's even had a chance to cross over with some other books as well. So
it's really exciting to see all the Scattered books actually creating a huge backlist as time goes on.
Yep.
Let's see here. What is your favorite genre to write?
Favorite genre to write? That's really hard because I write poetry and screenplays and short stories and flash fiction. I think probably for me right now, probably screenplays are pretty fun right now, actually. But it's hard because it's almost like saying, well, who's your favorite child? That's an impossible thing to answer. I have 2 kids, and I can't tell you who's my favorite. I love them both. So just kind of depending on where the story is, right? If it's something short that needs a little more poetics, then it'll be a poem. If it's something that demands much more of a visual, live kind of performance, then maybe it'll be a one-act play. If it's something that demands some more graphic storytelling, then it'll be a comic. So yeah,
That's awesome. Different tools for the toolbox.
absolutely. So
So, speaking of tools for your toolbox, man, what part of writing this came easiest for you, and what did you struggle the most with it?
I gotta tell you, I don't think there was any part that was easy, and I'll tell you why. When you're writing about characters and stories and worlds that are already formed, right? That universe is already there and it already exists. You as a writer need to take care and read those other characters and read their stories and really get to know them before you even start writing that script. You really, really need to do that. So that's my suggestion for all of you young writers out there who are already thinking about writing scripts for other
Wait.
universes and other.
Wait, I'm going to interrupt you. Did you just say the hardest part was reading comics?
No. Getting to know the characters and getting to know the worlds. That was the hardest part. And the reason why is because as a writer, you are taking somebody else's creation, somebody else's world, and you are inserting yourself in there. You do not want to mess that up. So so when you put yourself into that scenario, right, you've got to work within and understand that world and understand the characters, their cadence, what they say, how they react in situations, and that kind of thing. Because you don't want to screw it up, as a professional, right? But you also don't want to screw it up for the fan base that's already been established by these other characters, these other worlds, these other creators, and that kind of thing. And so it was, it really was a labor of love because I knew that Scattered wanted to do something like this for a while. I really liked the characters in the worlds that were already created. Damaging, Blythe, Caffeine Poison, those kind of things. And I really wanted to get in there and find a way to get these characters to interact, but keep true to their worlds, their nuances, and who they are, and that kind of thing. And then when I was done, after several revisions and things like that, I was exhausted, but I was really happy with the end product. And honestly, as a creator, that's the best feeling in the world. There's no better feeling than feeling completely exhausted, but looking at this product you have in your hand and say, wow, this is a lot of fun. I can't wait till this comes together.
Yeah, you know what I've enjoyed is on the scenes where other people are doing like my characters. It's hilarious when I get to see them show up.
Yeah.
And you did a really good job of trying to carry over their attitudes and whatnots into the rest of the scripts.
Thank you.
And the artists are all trying to keep up with like the body language and stuff. It's really fun to see all that.
Very cool.
Okie dokie. Let's see here. All right. So, what type of project do you have coming on next, and how do people find you?
Okay. So, like I said, I've got Dr. Dream issue number 5, which will be the last issue coming up this fall, winterish, kind of depending when the pages get done and that kind of thing.
And that wraps up the story. It's a limited story, right?
Yeah. So it's been 5 issues, so we're going to wrap up that story. But that doesn't mean Dr. Dream won't be appearing in other comics, because he will actually be appearing in a crossover with Alberto Melendez's Jackie Lantern. So it'll be a nice crossover between Dr. Dream and Jackie Lantern. And so that's in the works as well. We, of course, as I mentioned, have the Scattered crossover coming up pretty soon. Hopefully that'll be, maybe later on this year. Hopefully, fingers crossed, everything goes well on that. And then I've got a campaign coming up pretty soon where I actually wrote out a novella for my first book, which is Blank. And so we'll have that as a standalone novella. We'll have what we call also a visualizer kind of thing, including, so it'll be the novella with some art in there also. And then, of course, we'll have the comic books to go along with that campaign as well. And that should be coming up here in a month or two. So I'm excited about that. So those are 3, projects right there that are going to be seeing daylight here pretty soon. So
That's awesome, Keith. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
absolutely.